somebody with a new idea that is not part of the normal business practice and business thinking or even business modeling of an established company can sometimes be just impossible to get off the ground. I have some experience with that. After I finished what I thought I had finished my work on the internet in 1982, I went to work for a company called MCI, and they wanted to get into an online electronic mail service. Now, in 1983, this was pretty advanced stuff. We didn't have laptops and desktops exactly. I mean, it was just some of those things, like the Mac was just beginning to show up in 1984. But in order to get this to work in a traditional telephone company, we set a new building aside for what we call a skunk works. Now, if you know what is a skunk, they stink, and you don't want to be anywhere close to them. So when you create a skunk works, the idea is to get the rest of the company to stay away and for you to concentrate on what you're trying to do. It's a really great tactic for trying to isolate a set of people and letting them concentrate on what they're trying to do and let the other business be taken care of by other people. So in a very funny way, you guys represent a collection of skunk works all crammed into the same room, which is sort of an interesting metaphor. But its focus is really important in all this. I have a couple of messages that I wanted to share with you, but one of them has to do with history. The internet didn't just happen. There was a lot of work that went on before the internet. One of the networks that was created was called ARPANET, and it was funded by the American Defense Department. My partners and I worked on that before we started working on the internet. But what I wanted to emphasize to you is that it wasn't strictly an American activity. There were a whole collection of people here in France, some of whom were in the United States working on that project. I don't have to go and look at my cheat sheet here to get everybody's name, but these may not be names that you would normally recognize. One was a guy named Gérard Deloche and Michel Ali, who were at UCLA working on the ARPANET. Another was Louis Pouzin, who was one of the 5 people who just got that wonderful Queen Elizabeth Prize for engineering. Louis worked on a project for the Institut de Recherche d'Informatique et d'Automatique. And in case you think that means I speak French, I don't, so sorry. Louis did some really brave stuff, because at the time that packet switching was being looked at, the conventional wisdom of the time was it was a stupid idea and it wouldn't work. And we, in fact, when we were doing our work on the ARPANET, we invited the American AT&T company to participate, and they said, no thank you, we're not interested, we know it won't work, it's a stupid idea, but we would be happy to sell you dedicated transmission circuits so you can build your stupid network. So they sold us the transmission capacity, and we built the stupid network, and it worked. Gérard Lalonde, who is at IRIA, was at my laboratory at Stanford University helping with the detailed design of TCP/IP. We borrowed some ideas from Pouzin's Cyclade and Seagal network, having to do with the way flow control works, the window-based mechanism of TCP. Bruno Houdet, somewhat later, was the science attaché at the French embassy in Washington. And when he got there, he wanted very much to connect the researchers from France together so they could either communicate with each other or at least find out what was going on back home. So he started a network called FrogNet, which was an acronym for French Research Organization Group Network, and I was able to help him with that. Another man who was part of Pouzin's group, Hubert Zimmermann, was one of the authors of the Open Systems Interconnection architecture. I'm sorry to say he passed away recently, but he was very much involved in early thinking about networking. And there is a contemporary whose name is Bertrand de la Chapelle, who is on the board of ICANN. This man is the reincarnation of an 18th century French philosopher. He has this great whopping, head of white hair, has a big pipe, and speaks in philosophical terms, and always worth listening to. There's another program that started here called Minitel, and I don't know, it's gone now, but it was around for quite a long time. And I tried to get Minitel connected up to the MCI mail service in the 1990s, and we could never quite get the business model to work. In '83, the smart card company came to me in the United States and said, we'd like you to use smart cards to identify your users. And I was very intrigued by the idea, but we couldn't figure out how to get smart card readers into all the places they would have to be in order to take advantage of it, so we didn't do that. But smart card, as some of you surely know, was another French invention. Well, I won't go on and on this, except to tell you that you have a lot to be proud of, and what you are doing here, I hope, will generate some more really great history. Let's talk a little bit about where the Internet's going. One thing for sure is that it's gone wireless, and so speeds and quantity of wireless gear